Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. As the Titans get ready to head to Tampa following the mini-bye, they likely will have to do it without offensive tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere. Paul Kaharski reporting that Petit-Frere will require shoulder surgery after an injury he suffered in the Thursday Night Football loss to Pittsburgh and could miss the remainder of the 2023 season. Around the NFL, the New York Giants reportedly fear quarterback Daniel Jones has a torn ACL after he exited the 30-6 loss to the Raiders on Sunday that dropped the Giants to 2-7. And tonight, Week 9 wraps up with the 3-4 Chargers visiting the 4-3 New York Jets on Monday Night Football. Kickoff is at 7:15. You can catch the Westwood One coverage right here on The Zone. Tennessee basketball tips off the 2023-24 season tonight at Thompson Bowling Arena as the 9th-ranked Vols host Tennessee Tech, a 5:30 tip-off. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Got the band back together. Blaine's here. I'm here. Joseph is here. And all of you are here. We appreciate you being here. Yeah. I don't know what people are most in their feelings about right now.
What is?
Just Mike Vrabel's comments about Will Levis. Everywhere I went this weekend, people, he wouldn't say nice things about him. You know, he wouldn't build him up in these press conferences.
And I love people. Oh, we're just trying to manage his ego. And no, that is not the answer. Why did he go after Will Levis about his bad throws when asked, and then give him, granted everybody has bad throws, but he didn't go after Tannehill when he threw his 2 bad throws versus the Saints? I'm just giving an example. Who's a veteran, by the way, who can handle it? I don't know what his deal is with that. To be honest, as far as how he's handling who's announcing, he did the same thing with the second and third string quarterback situation. He never did announce who it was. It was just based off of who was dressing.
Right. That was it.
So I don't know if we're going to get him tomorrow to tell us who's starting or not, regardless if we believe it's going to be Will Levis or not. I don't think – why would he do that now?
Oh, I think you're 100% right.
Especially, with the team we're playing. I mean, he thinks it's, game planning and this and that, how to prepare. Man, first of all, when you watch him play, Will Levis, you say, hey, this guy's got all the tools. He's got composure. He has a clock in his head most of the time. His second game, he was harassed. There's nothing to prepare for but the offense. And yet he may take some more deep shots than Tannehill because he's got a flick of the wrist, deep ball arm, cannon of an arm. But then they're going to run the offense. So, yeah, that was tough there, man. I didn't like the 3 running plays there on the last drive. And here's a good example of Levis trying to do things with his arm more, and I think they're trying to guard against it, especially with the offensive line they had out there. His was cover 3 at the end, or 3 deep, 3 deep. So 3 safeties are deep. 1, 2, 3. 1 in the middle, 2 on the right. He tries to throw a vertical pass right down the middle. The guy didn't even move. He stood there the whole time, didn't backpedal, slowly. And then he just broke on the ball. Like, all he had to do was just move. I could have done it, actually, even today.
Okay.
So that's what I'm talking about, not when my playing days. And so then he tried to throw it again at the end and threw the pick. So that shows he believes in his arm that he can get it in there regardless. So maybe they're guarding against that, but I think he really had no option at that point. But what I'm disappointed in, you could talk about all the things that happened in that game. I wish they would have run, I call it the dagger route. They ran it earlier and got the big goop of yardage. Might have been the Phillips. Phillips sighting, of course, in this game. And the outside guy, he runs a dig and it gets a vertical by the slot guy. And he comes right underneath it. I wish they would have ran that in the red zone there, towards at the end, the last play. Because I think they could have hit it again. Go back to what worked. And it worked on that drive. Let's see. It was that same defense. They were playing with their version of whatever prevent is to them. And so that was the only thing in the 3 running plays. I'm not trying to protect my quarterback. We played the whole freaking game. I don't care if he gets hit. I'm trying to win this game. And so I don't know. Maybe that was game of shit. Think you're going to think them or something. But that
3
one-
times, though?
Yeah, I'm just trying to give you the out. They try to, chess checker type deal. I don't know, but I don't think anybody agrees with that. But disappointment in the D line and stopping the run. So that was a little disappointing. Secondary is always going to be somewhat of an issue. Fulton been playing well, I thought.
Yeah.
The last 3 games. So all those people who wanted to bench him where you at, he the best you got. That's why you don't do that. Sometimes guys go through stretches. And you just got to be careful with that. So, yeah, I thought, to be honest, offensive line, all the guys who played, the backups from, Brunskill. Let's start here. Brunskill, who's the starter, hats to him, man. He was limping around out there. He couldn't even hardly move. I don't know what's his deal, his ankle sprained or rolled up on or what. But I got to give him kudos. That was a Ben Jones type fighting through. He had no business being out there. I thought, the start, Dillard, the NPF were absolutely horrendous. They were horrible. The backups played better than them. Now, I don't know what they see or don't see in Dylan Radins, and I'm not saying he's great, but he played better than they did, period. And he was going against one of the best in the league. We can name all the top 3. Well, TJ Watt is in that conversation, and he did it. Hey, he might have been holding or whatever, but he did a solid job. That's 2 times now I've seen him go against the elite pass rusher, Bosa being the other one, and he goes out there and does a pretty good job. So it's winning football. That's how I look at it. So somebody over there doesn't like him. I'm just going to call it like that. Somebody doesn't like him. Period. He went against one of the best in the league. And I don't even know if he gave up a sack. I didn't even track it to TJ Watt. But it might have been one, a cover sack where he might have finally let him go after, he'd been running around or something. But, yeah, I don't know what they're looking at, but that's what I see. Leave him out there till he can't. And they may have no choice now because NPF is out for some period of time with a shoulder. He did that because TJ Watt beat him on the inside. He grabbed him. Messed up that shoulder, grabbed him. That was a lot of force coming there. He gone. So, yeah, that was tough.
What is that like if you're a player on the team, because you've been a player on 10 professional season teams, and there's a guy on the team who every time he gets put in, he does what they ask him to do, and then he just doesn't get to play again until they have to play him.
Now, as a teammate, you go pat him on the back and say, man, we appreciate all that you're doing. Eventually, it shall come. You shall rise to the top. They eventually will see it.
Yeah. Because
there's nothing you can do. Yeah. And, sometimes it's in his situation, you would think it would be more on his side because he was a draft pick, second round, right? Coming off an ACL, by the way.
Yeah, late in the year ACL.
Yeah, December.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And still looks just like the same guy he was. So, and sometimes it's a conflict of his individual coach, too, because I feel like he's plays more now than he did last year. So I don't know if that was the situation. I don't know. I'm not in that locker room. But as a teammate, you see how sometimes players can get, I guess, somewhat misused, and there's nothing you can do. It happens in college, so you see it all the time. Yeah. It's no different. All right, we just watch it. Joe Burrow didn't start in college at Ohio State. He had to transfer to go start at LSU. See, so it goes on all over the place all the time. But in the NFL, you only got 2 guys. Yeah. So it's either you go with this guy, and for them to even go with Dylan Radins all this time, twice daily at that time.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Would you like to hear some?
I don't know. I want him to play consecutively so I can see if he actually is as good as I'm seeing.
Sure.
I mean, and I'm not saying he's great, but he's giving you winning football.
Right.
You can win with that. They couldn't win with NPF and Dillard. No. And Dillard, after he actually got hurt, did a little bit better. He came back with his ankle taped or something. He got rolled up on.
Yep.
I thought it was more his knee, but it was his ankle. And, that was it. But Will Levis looked exactly like he did previously. And that was maybe 1 or 2 times he might head onto the football a little too long. But guess what? It's okay. You didn't make a turnover, though. You didn't turn the ball over. So, yeah, he almost forced one. He was on the ground. He tried to throw the ball on the ground. He pulled did Marcus Mariota do that somewhere he played? He threw it on his back.
He did.
So I was like, okay, I'm glad he said he was down.
You got some lineman numbers for us, Joseph?
Buck Rising tweeted this earlier today per PFF. Dylan Radins has played 224 offensive snaps this season, 166 of those at left guard, 157 of those at right tackle, one of those at right guard. He's allowed 2 QB hits and 11 total pressures this season.
That was retweeted by Buck Rising from PFF, you say?
Correct.
What does it say? Because I can't hear him.
It says we're getting some headphone issues resolved in here. Dylan Radins has played 224 offensive snaps. This might be the most amazing thing about this. Before you even get to the numbers, he's played 166 at left guard and 57 at right tackle and 1 at right guard. He's allowed 2 quarterback hits and 11 total pressures. That's what he's allowed.
Where would that rank him? Like, what is that grade?
That was per PFF. Joseph, are you a standing PFF member? Can you grab those grades?
I'm pulling him right now.
He's working on them right now
Yeah,
as we speak.
That's sounds like that's okay to me. So I mean, we must not forget the other players on the other team are trying to do the opposite of what you're trying to do. They get paid too. They cha-ching their checks.
Yeah.
So I was a little baffled there, but yeah, I think Titans fans should be excited that this is the Will Levis era has begun. I don't care what he announces. He will be on my ding-dong list if he did not start Will Levis. And I never thought I'd ever be saying that I'm put the head coach of the Titans on the ding-dong list if he starts Tannehill, even if Tannehill is healthy. So here's what they do. Tannehill is injured, right? He can get to 80% and probably still play.
Yeah.
They'll like, nah, you're still injured. Keep on. We'll get 100. And by the time he's 100, it's going to be really solidified because then they're going to win a road game with Will Levis in charge.
Yep.
And then it's over.
Tannehill didn't practice at all last week.
Yeah.
And they're not desperate to get him back. It's not like
they're not going to rush him.
they're not going to rush him. To me, that's the way out for all of them down there. Tannehill hasn't
But
been
eventually he will be, and Will Levis is the starter. There's no way around it. People are fascinated him watching him on tape. I promise you.
Yeah.
Man, look at this dude. He just flicked his wrist at the last minute, and at the last minute he threw it over here where he wasn't even looking.
his screen pass to Derrick Henry, where he was
that
being
when he
hit by
bobbled?
2 people.
Oh, that was awesome.
He was almost parallel with his back to the ground, sees Derrick Henry, somehow throws the ball to Derrick Henry.
On the money.
On the money.
With some-
and he
with
hits
some
it
heat,
right in the
though.
hands and bounces up there. I
Yeah.
thought, if you drop that.
Oh,
He
man.
didn't. He caught it the second time. He was getting hit by 2 people. he just threw it.
Dude, that might have been a sack at this version of Tannehill where he's at in his career. That probably would have been a sack. So it's just a little different. I think he gives the team some juice, some excitement. But I think they should be more concerned about O-line and the defense not stopping the run.
That concerns
I'm not
me.
even worried about the quarterback because he's going to have highs. He's going to have lows. He's going to go through ups and downs. He went against a team at home, the Steelers, and their passers. I told TJ Watt and that Highsmith guy were off the charts, and they were. So I think he can manage pretty much anything. They had a good game plan. They used 2 tight ends, tried to run the football, liked the game plan. Didn't like the cutesy stuff they were doing. Every time they get over to 50, they always try to do some cutesy, usually around the 40-yard line, 30-yard line. The reverse to D-Hop didn't work, pass, and there was another one. I think if you do the scouting report, I bet that's what comes up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He does some scouting of what he wants to do when he gets across there, manipulate them, and then Steelers didn't go for it. So yeah,
Let's go for our man Jim Wyatt. He'll join us next. After Wyatt, we'll get into some numbers for Dylan Radins. We'll hold those for you. That's a tease. Jim Wyatt is coming up next, though. Tennessee Titans reporter right here on Blaine and Mickey. All right, it's November now. So let's stop even talking about New Year's resolutions or, the summer of you or whatever it is. Let's get into holiday season talk. You want to look your best at the holiday season, right? And all year round, you're going to take all these pictures with your family. What if you hit up my friends at We Grow Hair? What if you hit up my friends at PAI who've been in the business for over 26 years of making people look their best with their hair, their own hair growing right back on their head? What if you went right now, got something done? Then you look great in all those Christmas pictures. And the new year rolled in. It's a new year, new you, and you were looking good and feeling good. Look, man, people have been going to PAI for years now. Like I said, more than a quarter of a century. They're right down the road. And you can go to WeGrowHair.com. You can go to their website. You can see real men and women and real results and real people who've gotten just unbelievably life-changing results from PAI. So why don't you call them now? They'll give you a free consultation. It costs you nothing to go and have one meeting. I dare you to go. If you're dealing with hair loss, I dare you to go now. Permanent natural results from the company you can trust, PAI Medical Group, WeGrowHair.com. Call them now. Tell them I sent you 615-376-6010. Welcome to Blaine and Mickey. We got fun and games. We got Jim Wyatt. Everyone knows his name. At J Wyatt Sports on Twitter, writing for TennesseeTitans.com. Jimmy, how you doing on this beautiful Nashville Monday?
It is a beautiful day. I'm doing well. Appreciate you asking. Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
we're
sir.
doing well, man. It's a sunny day, man. It's an awesome day, man. Would you order this weather, Jimbo?
I tell you what, I'd order 364.
You'd rack this one up, run it over and over again. I think we all would.
This is kind of like L.A., man. I know you used to go to see the Dodgers, man. This little L.A. weather right here, man. This is
Yeah,
nice.
it's perfect. It's perfect. Weekend weather was great, so it's going to change. I think by the end of the week we got rain coming in, so you better enjoy these next couple of days.
Oh, then you're going to get on a plane and fly to Tampa, Jim, with the team. I don't feel too
It's
sorry.
supposed to be sunny. What's the weather?
88 degrees on Sunday.
Oh, just nudges there on that.
Well, we don't know who'll be playing quarterback, but let me ask you this.
Oh, my.
What have you thought of the performance so far by Will Levis? You've been covering this team since there was this team, and you've seen a lot of quarterbacks get their career started here. What do you think?
I think he's off to a great start. I mean, he's better than I thought he would be, and that's certainly based a lot on the fact we just hadn't seen him a lot since he's been with the team. He played the game in Chicago in the preseason. He missed the last 2 preseason games. He was working as the number 3 quarterback. So for him to step in and do what he did his first start against the Falcons and turn around and have I think a winning type performance on Thursday in Pittsburgh, I don't know how you can't be encouraged by what you've seen from him. He's been, we all knew he had a great arm. We all knew he was a great athlete, but I think he's shown some poise. I think he's shown a little moxie when he's out there. He looks the part, and hasn't been perfect, and he's had some throws I'm sure he'd like to have back, and some decisions he made that he'd like to have back. But that's kind of what you get when a guy's playing for the first couple of times. So I think he's just going to keep getting better. I think you have to be encouraged by what you've seen from him.
Jim Wyatt, our guest, I think the $1 million question is, and the thing that all fans are sort of waiting to hear from, Mike when he speaks tomorrow, and then probably again Wednesday, and probably again Thursday, and on until something has happened, is what happens when Ryan Tannehill is healthy? Then what do you do at quarterback?
Yeah, and that's, certainly something that Mike Vrabel has kind of used as a way to kind of delay a decision. I've had, people suggest that, why doesn't Vrabel like Will Levis? He does like Will Levis. I guarantee you that. He wouldn't have picked him.
Yeah.
If he didn't like Will Levis. He was very involved in the scouting process, and he went to his pro day in Kentucky. He spent a lot of time with him. I think their personalities are similar. He likes Will Levis. Now, why he has not, I think he's trying to keep him grounded. He's not the type of guy that raves about individual performances, especially after losses. And I can guarantee you Mike Vrabel's not going to tell the media who his starting quarterback is until he's talked to the players involved. So, you got to keep that into consideration as well. Now, is Tannehill completely healthy? I haven't seen him since Thursday in Pittsburgh, and he's walking around still favoring that ankle. So we'll see how far away we are from a decision, but Mike Vrabel likes Will Levis, and it's just a matter of when his decision's coming and what he's going to do. I think I know what I would do, but I'm not the head coach.
Jim Wyatt, our guest, he always knows what to do. Writing for TennesseeTitans.com, at J Wyatt Sports on Twitter.
Well, Jim, only I could ask you this question because you know the history, really pretty much all the Titans, if you've been writing and talking about them for a long time. Compare Marcus Mariota's first 2 starts to Will Levis's. Different opponents, different type of skill sets, but why or why not is Will Levis better or the same or worse?
Well, Marcus was incredible that first game
one.
In Tampa. He just lit it up, and they went 42-14. He throws 4 touchdown passes. Yep. I'm doing this off memory, but correct me if I'm wrong, but the next game went to Cleveland, lost, 28-14, lost by a couple of touchdowns up there. and I'm not going to take anything away from Marcus because, again, he was exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
But it was I thought it was a different type of throws and different type of game plan with him each time. And some of the throws he made against the Falcons, you saw them, they were deep balls. He made some remarkable throws, and then he goes to Pittsburgh and faces a defense that was harassing him throughout the game, and he's playing in a hostile road environment at night, and he's still, playing with poise and looking the part. I mean, I would say that Levis I've been more impressed with Will Levis's first two starts than Marcus Mariota, and I'm not taking anything away from Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just the way I see it. So. It's the best start I can remember for a rookie quarterback around here.
Yeah, Marcus was beloved, and I love Marcus too, but I completely agree with your statement there on Will Levis just has more tools in the toolbox and can make every throw known to man, even at the last second. There was this Boston Globe, reporter, reporter talking about, if Bill retires or leaves or something, that Mike Vrabel would be his first choice and all these things. And I know the owners can pretty much say what they want to say, but at some point, where is the line of tampering in the NFL? Because I really don't understand the line. I mean, I don't know if I believe it or don't believe what he said, but it still says, well, dang, he's already put on notice that he would go after Vrabel if he could.
Yeah, I mean, I look at that as just, that's just, throwing out. Ben Volen's a friend of mine. And,
okay.
Ben Volen's, covered the Patriots for a long time and certainly remembers Vrabel when he played there and saw how much Vrabel was applauded and knows the kind of respect he has in Foxborough.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's him. That's just speculation, and that's kind of what reporters do. I didn't think there was as much reporting in there as just much of let's have fun with this and throw out dream scenarios. I've been around, long enough to not remember when everyone had Jeff Fisher going back to USC to coach his alma mater.
Oh, I remember that.
I remember when Mike Munchak was all of a sudden rumored to be the guy to take over at Penn State. Neither one of those things happened. So I mean, it's fun to talk about. Gets people intrigued, but Patriots have a head coach, and this head coach has won I've lost track. He won 6 Super Bowls, and the Titans have a head coach in Mike Vrabel, and everything else about that is just pure rumor mill gossip stuff.
Got you. We're on with Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com. I guess one more for me, and is what's going on with the run defense? This is kind of intriguing to me because it's kind of happened throughout these first 8 games, and the inconsistencies with it can be troubling to a point where they could lose a lot more games if they don't get it fixed.
Yeah, I don't understand it because this team's always been good in run defense, and I think they win that game on, Thursday night if they'd have played better run defense, but they didn't. Gave up 166 yards when they needed to stop late. They couldn't get it. It wasn't just because of run defense. They gave up some passes downfield too, but through 8 games, they're giving up right at 115 a game, 19th best in the league. Mike Vrabel has kind of said it's because the guys, kind of being out of gaps and not being fundamentally sound. I think some of it is sloppy tackling, but I wish I could tell you why it's happening because if I could, I certainly would pass along to Shane Bowen and everybody on that defensive side. That's been one of the reasons why this team has lost a couple of games, I think.
Yes, Jim Wyatt from TennesseeTitans.com.
What do you think the offensive line might look like this week, Jim?
Ooh.
Well, it's somebody was getting after me in the mailbag about when Vrabel is going to hold Andre Dillard accountable, something along those lines. I'm like, well, he benched him. I mean, that's pretty much he did hold him accountable, and he replaced him with he shuffled the lineup, and and part of that's because Chris Hubbard got hurt. Now Nicholas Petit-Ferrier's hurt, so the team has options, but not a ton of them. And obviously, you could slide Dillard back in the left tackle and roll with Chris Hubbard at right if he does in fact clear concussion protocol. You could find a way to get Dylan Radins on the field. I think Jalen Duncan, it was nice that he came in and played 3 snaps, but that's it. He's come in and played 3 snaps. I don't know that you want to turn it over to a rookie at this point in the season playing left tackle. So the team has some options, and I'll be curious to see just what it looks like on the practice field this week.
You mentioned the mailbag. What's the longest mailbag question you've ever gotten? Because I read it every week, and some of them get pretty wordy.
Yeah, some of them get pretty wordy, and they don't include periods. They people just keep rolling and rolling.
I saw your response on one of those this week. Like this email had a lot of things except periods.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, if people get long-winded, I get a kick out of it. Sometimes they're a little over the top, but for people to take the time to sit down and hammer out their thoughts, I like to run them all. Like, I try not to police them too much. If they include expletives in there, they just get too insulting, personally, towards somebody that plays or coaches or works for the team. I sometimes don't run those, but they get pretty wordy, and I like to include all opinions in there because that's what fan bases are like. I mean, you got people that react to losses and wins and have different viewpoints, and I like to let them, like to share them.
We like to share Jim Wyatt with you guys at J Wyatt Sports, who joins us now from TennesseeTitans.com.
Well, Jimbo, I thought Dylan Radins playing, well, actually tackle and guard in this game, but mostly at tackle. I thought he, going against one of the best pass rushers, did fairly well. What were your thoughts on the way that he played? This is the second time, by the way, I've seen him play like this, even against Bosa, the 49ers that night there. So 2 strenuous times, he showed up and did okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's done a good job. I like his attitude or just the way he works, and he hasn't had anything go smoothly for him since he's been here, whether that's from a injury standpoint or a playtime standpoint, but he just has continued to work and make himself available for when the team needs him, and players like that usually get rewarded by Mike Vrabel. So we'll see what happens with him moving forward. But I thought he played well, and I think he's just gotten better. And the more time he's removed from his surgery, the better off he's going to be.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Just think he also had ACL surgery. So, man, what a heck of a job there. And by all the guys that came in there, definitely Brunskill, who he had no business being out there with that hurt ankle, but I got to give him mad props there. It seems as though from the presser that maybe there could be other positions that Vrabel may be looking at for changes in the lineup. I mean, did you hear it that way, or was I just hearing things?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could read into that. I don't know exactly where it would be. I mean, because a lot of times injuries dictate where you go. Like in a perfect world, Trey Avery wouldn't have been out there on Thursday night, but you've got Roger McCreary out, and then you have Sean Murphy-Bunting go out, then that affects your depth. So I don't know who's going to be back and available then. A receiver with Traylon, going into concussion protocol. Obviously Kyle Phillips stepped up with more playing time there. I mean, that you could do some shuffling there. We've talked about the offensive line. I don't know where you could make a lot of personnel changes at this point. A lot of it's going to be based on health, but I do think certainly Mike Vrabel knows his team needs to play better, and his team is not winning games that it has won in the past. And I'm talking about some of these close games. And so, I think you got to do some things that you think put yourself in the best position to win. And maybe there's a spot or two where he does shuffle some things up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I guess lastly for me, what position group has disappointed the most thus far through 8 games?
That's a good question. I mean, I'd have to say tight end, just
Oh.
because. I'm not trying to take a shot at Chigga Concord here, but I've kind of expected him to be make a big leap in year 2, and that hasn't necessarily happened. For one reason or another. I'm not saying everybody on that group. I think Kevin Rader's done a good job playing on special teams. He's shown up, did that again the other day, but you're just not getting big impact plays there. Josh Wally, no fault of his own, but he's dealt with some injuries and kind of his effectiveness has been limited as well. So it just hasn't had the big impact there. And then offensive line. I mean, yeah, that group has battled, and they've had some guys go out, and they've had to reshuffle a lot. But quarterbacks is just consistently under pressure, and it has to be better if his team's going to have a chance to win, a lot more games than it loses in the second half of the season, because you're going to have trouble keeping guys healthy if they get hit all the time.
No doubt about it. Jimbo Wyatt.
So, Jim, again, I told you I always read the mailbag. Sometimes you drop some Easter eggs in there. I always encourage people to read it and catch your perspective on things. You mentioned at the end of one of your answers to somebody, and then you said it right off the top in this interview regarding the quarterbacks. Look, I know what I would do. I would ask you, Coach Jim Wyatt or Vrabel comes down the hall and goes, "Hey, man, I read your mailbag. I know you know what you would do. I'm just completely stuck. I flipped a coin. I don't trust that. What should I do?" What would you do, Jim?
Well, it's a dangerous spot for me because I'm again I'm working for the team. People saying, well, this guy works for the team. He's thinking he would do this, and then let's say the head coach comes out and says something else. Then I'm kind of. But I mean, I can't deny. Will Levis, I think, has looked really good, and we all know that Ryan Tannehill is in his last year with the team, and the Titans have 9 games left to play. Based on what I've seen so far, Will Levis is not only a guy you need to find about more moving forward to see what you've got, and I think you have to be very encouraged by what you've seen, but also based on what I've seen, it's hard for me to say that he's not the better option just on how he's played compared to how Ryan Tannehill's played this year. So maybe the best option in the present. Now, the head coach and the coordinator and other coaches, they know a heck of a lot more about football than I do, and decisions that guys make and decisions they should have made. But me watching these past 2 games with Will Levis, I personally think he gives this team the best chance to win right now, and having him play, you're not only giving yourself a chance to win this year, but you're also developing a guy for future years. So that's my thought process.
Well, Jimbo, I know you know the odds because you're a math guy. Being that
I'm not a math.
I know. I was messing with you. That's why I said that.
That's why I was an English major.
Right. Yeah. No, I was messing with you.
That's why I went into sports writing. I wasn't very good at math.
Right. 3 and 5. I know you know the percentages. What's the odds on that the Titans make it to the playoffs?
3 and 5. If you bear with me here for a second, I can give you the odds at 3 and 5, and they're not real pretty because I get them. I'll do that every week. That is some math that I know.
The reason why I bring that up, because that follows along with what you just said about the quarterback position. You need to get him ready, whether it's this year or not, and keep it moving. That way, going into next year, you have already gone through your lumps, and now you have somewhat of a veteran with a lot of experience, a second-year player with a lot of experience, instead of going into the season with no experience.
So the percentages of teams that have started 3 and 5, they've got a 9.4% chance of winning of making the playoffs, a 4.7% chance of winning the division, and a 0.0% chance of winning the Super Bowl. Now, those are not pretty stats, and those stats are, can be altered by play. But those are the numbers. You asked me for the math. That's what they are as of right now, and obviously that could change if you get to 4 and 5. They're gonna look better.
Yeah.
You get to 5 and 5, they're gonna look even better than that. But the thing with this team is just need to figure out a way to keep winning, and build some momentum. That's what the Jaguars did last year. I mean, and I think if the Titans win this game on Sunday and get to 4 and 5, they're going to be in the same spot going into Jacksonville that I think Jacksonville was coming in here. The Titans could have choked the life out of them last year in Jacksonville. I mean, here in Nashville, and that would have never been a game at the end of the season. I think Titans are going to be in a similar situation going to Jacksonville next week, where if Jacksonville wins that game, the division race for the division is realistically probably over. But if the Titans win, then maybe it gets interesting. So, but you got to win this week to make that happen.
Jimbo, thank you, man. We know how busy you are, and people need to get to TennesseeTitans.com and read all the mailbags and catch up on that and the gamer stories and everything else that happens there. It's always fantastic content, and I read it all, and we appreciate the time today.
That's how I knew you had those percentages.
Okay, y'all have a big week. Appreciate it.
Thank you. The one and only Jim Wyatt. All right, when we come back, we got some stats on the one and only Dylan Radins. Let's get to those next. You just can't not do it when you hear it. This will fix a lot of your problems right here, man.
I wonder what Will Levis listens to before the game.
I'd listen to this if I was him. I just asked Joseph, can I just have this loop of this?
I saw him up here. He was listening to something. He was up here stretching on the field before the game. He had his leg all up where it could hit the top of his head. He was on his belly, and he pulled it all the way up with a band. I was like, oh, that just hurts just looking at that.
If you pull my leg up like that, it'd never go back to where it was supposed to have started.
Like, what? Dang, I need to start stretching.
Dylan Radins is an interesting character on this Titans offensive line. Seems like he never gets to play until he has to play. And so we were trying to maybe get into some of his stats. And people say, well, offensive linemen don't have stats. Well, they do have stats from PFF. I did find this, and I know Joseph actually found some information.
Oh, yeah.
This was from Mike Herndon. He tweeted this either late Thursday night when I was not sleeping, or like at some point Friday morning at some point when I wasn't sleeping, because I'm like Motley Crue in the 80s. I guess I've given up on sleep. Will Levis was pressured on 52.3% of his dropbacks last night per PFF charting. That doesn't sound very good. He didn't say that. I'm saying that. He said, here were the worst offenders. Dillard gave up 1 sack and 7 pressures. Skoronski gave up 0 sacks and 5 pressures. Brewer gave up 0 sacks and 4 pressures. And again, they don't always know, was that guy supposed to have double teamed? Was it this is just their way of seeing it. NPF gave up 1 sack and 3 pressures on 10 snaps because he got hurt. And Paul Kaharski is reporting we could have seen the last of NPF for this season. So there's that now. And Dylan Radins, 0 sacks, 3 pressures, which goes in line to what you said. Like, he seemed to be doing pretty well to me. And then I know, Joseph, you have their numerical grade. Is that right on Radins?
Yeah, so first off, let's start with last year, because looking at their snap counts, pretty similar. 280 snaps last year before the ACL injury. Okay. 0 sacks allowed in those 280 snaps, but his overall grade was a 40.3.
Okay.
So not a great 2022 season. We didn't see a lot of him. So far through 224 snaps, so about 60 snaps, 55 snaps less, he has a 69.2 overall PFF grade. And again, 0 sacks allowed so far.
Coming off an ACL, by the way. After a horrible year before, ACL, and then now you play, a little bit less, and you look better.
And dare I say it, Blaine, maybe he's just getting better because he's getting to play, and he's older and has been in the system longer, which is what's supposed to happen.
The theory is outside of quarterback, offensive linemen, especially the way they play college football now, are one of the slower positions to transition to. Now, usually in the pass game, because they're throwing so much more, it's okay. But, the run game and just putting it all together, it usually takes a little bit longer. So, man, and that's coming off an ACL. So I would say the sky's the limit for him. To me, every time he plays, I go, well, dang, he did okay. I'm not jumping for joy saying, oh, man, he's our starting offensive tackle. But I'm saying he's better than the other cat that was out there. So it's pretty clear. I know we're watching TV version. I haven't even watched the all 22, but when this offensive lineman, you can see everything you need to see right there. So I tip the cap to him and all the guys, the offensive line in general. After all those guys going down and their makeshift, everybody moving around, that is really hard to do. I mean, that's like, hey, Blaine, we can safety this play. Next play, you playing corner, huh? I don't think so. You're not going to get me exposed here on this Thursday night. Yeah.
So the Titans, their percentage of pressure given up against Pittsburgh was 52.3%, which I get it. Look, it was on the other side there, but it's a never-ending story here. Somebody asked Herndon in this tweet, what's the league average for pressure? He said 35%. So, 17% more pressure. Now, I know it's Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's defense, they get after the quarterback well, but they've given up a lot of yards. They've given up some points. They didn't come – they're an interesting team in a lot of different ways. But anyway, Dylan Radins, the least amount of pressure is given up in the game. The other thing, too, guys, is Radins has even said himself, and I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, I played on the left in college. Basically, I'm more comfortable on the left is what he said. Mm-hmm. And he's playing guard and right tackle and He's playing all over the place. So it's not like he just
needed.
where needed.
So worst case scenario, he's the utility guy that can play where it's needed if he's not the starter. So this week, so applaud him to keep fighting the fight and finally get to a point, at least right now, where he's at least efficient enough to put out there and do pretty decent. I mean, not embarrass himself. He doesn't look like Twice Daily. He don't look like Dillard. He don't look like Dillard. He didn't even look like NPF that night. The NPF man looked bad.
Boy.
I said, y'all, man, that guy, we in trouble. Offensive line, we in trouble.
All right, let's continue this discussion on the other side. We got Ding Dong of the Week coming up. There's plenty of Ding Dong candidates out there. We got headlines for you. We got lots of time to take your phone calls. You've had a weekend to think about quarterback situation. You got a weekend that you've had to think about this wild report out of New England from the Boston Globe's reporter Ben Volen, where he is speculating about who might be the next Patriots coach and how it might affect the Titans and Mike Vrabel. We'll get into that as well. All of that in your call, 615-737-1045. Next.
Life is busy. We could all use some extra time in our day, which is exactly why Two Rivers Ford offers mobile service. We'll bring the service to your driveway at no additional charge. Oil changes, brakes, batteries, the certified technicians at Two Rivers will perform basic maintenance on your vehicle wherever you are, so you'll have more time for moments like this. Schedule your mobile service appointment by scanning the QR code or calling Two Rivers Ford today.
Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone, just doing our job on a Monday. That's what we're doing. Just doing our job.
Just like Vrabel, he's just doing his job.
Doing his job.
Mm-hmm. He cannot announce who the starter is. And by the way, Vrabel did the same thing with Malik and Levis. Remember, who's the backup?
As you pointed out, he never said.
He never said. He never said who the backup was. We just was going off. I always go about action. So Malik Willis was, the backup until he wasn't.
Yep. He went from 2 to 3.
And people, stop saying he does not like Will Levis. Please. Stop that. He had everything to do with getting this guy here. Now, how is he trying to address him now and keep him all in this, this space is a different story. But, yeah, he better like Will Levis because he wanted him, and it could potentially help his team win games at some point in time, and he's going to have to ride his coattails because he's going to do some things that you be like, wow, at some point in time throughout his time here.
Yeah, him not liking him, I agree. I mean, Will Levis is here because he wanted him here.
Yeah.
100%.
And other people too, but he was part of it. So, nah, I think he's more so trying to protect a veteran quarterback who he respects a lot, who won a lot of games for him and want to do it the right way and tell him, hey, man, we're, if you're not fully healthy, then let's let the young kid keep rolling until he gets fully healthy. Then he's gonna be like, well, we're gonna just keep rolling with the. And I guarantee you, Tannehill knows in his heart of hearts that Levis is the guy. Well, why does he care? He's still gonna make his $30 million.
Sure.
Now it's gonna hurt him for being the starting quarterback next year. He may have to reboot that and be going somewhere for a backup, and then get incentive laden contract. After he's making, I don't know, backups making $6, $7, $8 million now. And then incentive laden in case you do get to be a starter and, move from there and get back to where you need to be. But right now he's probably focused on trying to get healthy, whether it's this year or next year. So
sure.
There's no skin off his back.
He's a longtime veteran quarterback in this league who's already been traded once.
What year is this for? Is this 12? or 10? Where are we at with Ryan Tannehill?
This may be 10.
10. Okay.
But he and everybody in there understands the business of everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
They all, especially Tannehill, he's a quarterback in this league. He got traded. The team paid part of his money to make him go away in Miami to send him here. Then he got the job because the other guy got benched. I mean, they all understand it. Everybody understands it. It might suck, and you might like this one player, and you don't want to see him get benched, or things haven't. They all understand it. I mean, I got a friend who played on all these music tours, and I asked him once about it, and he goes, look, man, this is a carnival ride. One day they're going to come and go, we're replacing you with somebody cheaper, or, hey, man, we're just not going to tour for 2 years because we don't feel like it. It's a carnival ride. Like every ride, the Tilt-A-Whirl, you don't ride it forever. It ends at some point. Everybody knows that. It's a carnival ride. You get off at some point. The ride stops. So, but what they do, you hit the nail on the head earlier. I said when the show started, Tannehill didn't even practice last week. How could he go from 0 to 100 this week? And it's not like they don't like Levis, or Levis is some journeyman or a 7th-round draft pick that they're just having to play right now. It's the guy they want to be the starter for the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. They're not having to go down the hall, Blaine, to Ryan Tannehill and go, hey, man, hit the stim machine extra. Man, we need you. Nope. They're like, hey, man, take your time. Get 100% healthy. And as you said about Ryan Tannehill, there were 2 things. One you said was, look, man, Levis is probably going to get a chance to win a road game before Tannehill would come back. So they got a chance this week. They got a chance next week. So if he wins a road game, at that point, it'd be really hard because they haven't won a road game in a year.
Yeah. And then, by the way, it's not like he's playing piss poor on the road either.
Nope.
He got one road game against a great defense, by the way, in my eyes. That's why stats doesn't matter. Their pass rush can just wreck shop.
Yep.
And they're not ranked high in really a lot of categories.
Well, I think, and you said this about Tannehill, his goal is he needs to just get yourself healthy, because you know you will be on a different team next year. Yeah. And it gives you your best chance going forward. It's not that Tannehill doesn't want to play or be there for his teammates. He wants to do all those things. But if they're going to play the other guy, then you focus on what you can control.
Never know. That's why you don't burn bridges. Never know. He may be back up here.
Well, that'd be something.
That would be something. Most time it doesn't work out that way, but you just never know. Most time the quarterback's contract don't run out.
That is true.
Him and Kirk Cousins. What's going to happen with Kirk Cousins? Ooh.
I heard the Vikings want him back.
Yeah, they put it on record. See that? I don't know if they're going to take that back after they watch Dobbs make that performance.
Hey, man.
I tried to tell y'all we did, Mickey. We told him. Everybody knows that Dobbs is a legit, man. He is legit.
He looked like Tennessee awesome. Dobbs out there. The way he was running and escaping people, and like 2 people would be about to hit him.
Magical.
Can I tell you how excited 14, 15-year-old me was watching him yesterday? Just watching him lead that comeback. And what he didn't take a single snap with the offense all week long, because they were planning on Jaron Hall, the rookie out of BYU, to go the whole game. And he goes out. He gets hurt first series. First series, he gets hurt. And then Dobbs is in there communicating with Kevin O'Connell through the headset. He's telling him plays and explaining to him in the huddle, and, trying to translate it for him on the field. They're on the sideline taking snaps between him and Garrett Bradbury, the center for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, that was the most impressive thing I think I have seen in a football game in a long time.
Kevin Seifert of ESPN reported this. Josh Dobbs didn't take a single rep with the offense in practice. He had no snaps from center Garrett Bradbury. He had never thrown a pass to anyone, and he didn't know most of their names.
Yeah.
So
good job, Joe.
The Falcons took the lead 28-24. There was 2:08 to go in the game, and he threw a touchdown pass to Brandon Powell, which is a nice pass right on the goal line. Dobbs went 20 of 30 for 158 and 2 TDs passing, and then he ran 7 for 66 for another score.
Was the game's leading rusher for both teams.
Did he break some NFL record?
So he becomes the first player in NFL history to go for 3 total touchdowns in back-to-back weeks with 2 different teams.
And no Justin Jefferson. and Cam Akers got hurt. Oh, don't watch the replay of that. They showed it earlier.
Right?
His Achilles. Like his body went one way and his Achilles went the other. You knew something bad was going to happen.
Not today.
He got there Tuesday, by the way. Does that sound familiar to any of y'all?
Man.
He got there Tuesday.
Oh, man. How can you not be a fan? I told you I'm a fan. I was so perturbed that they did not sign him. But, hey, man, how's this guy this good and just keeps getting traded to teams because they see, we opened the floodgates for him. Once he played here, everybody's like, whoa, hey, that Dobbs is he's a for sure backup in this league, man. He could, if we get the guy go down, when you have him number 2, he can hold the fort for, 5, 6, 7 games, man. I think we'll be fine. Then he had to pay him. Then he only got a contract where he was making $2 or $3 million.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was just like,
I think it was 2.5 from Cleveland, which is what took him away from here before he then went to the Cardinals, before he then went
him. Who traded him?
Yeah.
Dang.
So he's been on the Steelers, the Jags, the Titans, the Cardinals, and the Vikings.
And the Browns.
And the Browns. Sorry,
6
6 teams.
Yeah. Three teams in 2023.
Yeah.
Because he played for the Titans in January 2023.
They did. Yeah.
And then he was with Cleveland. Was he with Cleveland? So it would be 4 teams in 2023.
Yeah, he was with Cleveland after he left here.
He's played a snap for 3 teams, has been on 4 teams this
How
year.
can you not be a fan of Dobbs? No, you got to follow him on social media. He's like, man, I got to find a place to stay just temporarily when he went to Arizona, when they traded him, right? But then if you follow him, he'll continue to go on. Then he finally said, man, what a heck of how did he phrase? I can't remember. I'm paraphrasing. I'm going to have a heck of a book and story to tell. That's what he said. And I was just like, wow. And it could be an inspiring book because it got to a point where I think people just wrote him off in the NFL, and he was just hanging on for dear life.
Those
and
2
he
games,
believed in him.
He believed in him.
He knew he could play.
Yep.
And he didn't let anybody break him. That's the hard part. Most people would have given up. Like, hey, man, I'm showing them all I got, and I know I can play. They don't like, oh, well, I'm out.
He has got a fallback plan.
He's a sharp dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a sharp dude. The fallback plan going to be, somebody going to slip up and give him Ryan Fitzpatrick money. I mean, because to me, he's kind of just a different style, but kind of like him. You go, I think he could be our starter. You start saying that. Then you realize, maybe for a season or 2. But you never know. Dobbs get out there. I think, man, somebody put their heart and soul into supporting him. I think he could be all right, man. I think he could be pretty solid starter, man. I'm inching towards starting, man. I was like, for sure, back up, because we didn't even know that at the time.
Nope.
I'd bring him back next year to back up Levis.
I can't wait to see what he does with Justin Jefferson.
Oh, my.
The only thing I didn't like about him playing.
What did he do with Addison? He didn't do nothing. I didn't watch the game. Man,
I only saw the end of it. It was part of the games. By the way, I still haven't missed a day of watching football. I'm like a month into this now. I still haven't missed one day. Jason in Hendersonville, I know we got to take a break. Let's take Jason's call, then we'll come back with some ding-dongs for Ding Dong of the Week. What's up, Jason?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my – hey, I'm a big fan of Dobbs as well, and I'm watching him every time he plays, and I'm watching my Titans, and I'm watching my Steelers. So I'm keeping up with all 3. But as far as our quarterback is concerned, I believe I've seen enough to know that Will's going to be our starter in our future. My concern is wasting him away behind that line, getting his knee or getting an ankle or something knocked out from under him so that our future is devastated. If I was the coach, I would go to Amy and go, this is my plan. I'm going to start him while I have to start him. But as soon as Tannehill is healthy, he goes back in. We finish the season out. We already know he's our starter next year. And if that means we lose the games, try to pick up an extra draft pick or 2, solidify that offensive line, get depth at corner, and try to find a weapon somewhere in the 5th or 6th round to add to what we have. That way our future isn't ruined. Personally, if I was a coach, I wouldn't want him out there 9 games with the potential of ruining our future.
Yeah, real quick question to you. No, great points, though. It made me, think about it. Then how do you actually develop your quarterback?
Well, we've already seen what he can do these 2 games, and we know that Tannehill's going to be out at least another week or 2.
Right.
4 games, 3 to 4 games is all you really get in the preseason when you get a new quarterback out of the draft.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's getting real game time experience, and he's playing against defenses that are scheming, and the other rookies that come out playing for Texas and the Colts, and well, look at the Colts now. I mean, they played against vanilla defenses and during the preseason 1, 2, 3, 4 games. If we get a 4-game sample size of him and he does as well as he's been doing, that's all I need to know. Now what I want to do as the coach is protect him and make sure that he has the best opportunity next year with the biggest, best, meanest, strongest offensive line that I could put in front of him for next year and give him an opportunity to actually succeed and not waste away one of his knees or ankles.
Hey, appreciate the call, Jason. Yeah, man, a lot of thought-provoking items there.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'd love to address that when coming back because guess what? Defense guy, I'm not playing scared.
Yeah.
I'm not protecting nothing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm trying to win games. And I'm putting the best player out there that gives me the best shot of winning. Do you think they were trying to save Brunskill out there limping around on an ankle? I don't even know if he had but one ankle.
Or Ben Jones last year.
Right. This game is brutal there. You got to, he's done actually decent with the line and with actually a backup line just halfway through the game. So I'm like, if we can do that, then I think we're ready to roll.
The other thing, too, is he's so strong and his release is so quick, he erases some of the mistakes of the offensive line. With dudes hanging on him, he's still throwing the ball down the field.
On the money, too.
Yeah. So they're like, sorry, dude, you're going to have to take some ibuprofen. All right, we'll take some ibuprofen. We'll come back with Ding Dong of the Week. I believe Buffalo is on the line and wants to talk to us as well. It says Bualo, but I would imagine that's Buffalo. He got the F out of there, 2 Fs anyway. We'll get to Buffalo. We'll get to your calls. Ding Dong of the Week coming up next.
Joseph, you know how to spell?
Ring a ding, ding dong. It is time for Ding Dong of the Week, courtesy of our friends at Mark Spain Real Estate. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing. Like, you don't have to be a ding dong and, paint the kitchen or anything. Just call Mark Spain. Always appreciate him bringing Ding Dong of the Week to each and every one of you. Eric Reed says, Ding Dong of the Week, Josh McDaniels. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was easy. Yo, Mr. Pierce. Got it done. They were smoking cigars. Now, that was a little too far for me, but
Mark Davis sitting there.
Let me give some context to this because this was going to be my ding dong of the week.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to jump.
No, you're good.
Gun
You're
with your
good.
ding
But
dong
I can give the context.
Okay, contextualize your ding dong.
So before they fired him, the Raiders had a meeting between the players and the coaches.
Have you heard this, Blaine?
I know exactly where you're going. I knew about it. Yeah.
So they had a meeting between the players and the coaches. McDaniels or
got
apparently
mad at Aaron Pierce's story.
The players unloaded on McDaniels, just ripped him, and rightfully so because they were bad.
That's a terrible hire from the jump.
Yeah.
We all knew this was going to happen.
So McDaniels had Antonio Pierce, who's now the interim head coach, speak on his behalf. The Pierce brought up the Giants' 0-7 win against the undefeated Patriots and how that the team believed they could beat anyone. Pierce said that the Raiders needed that mindset. All the players fell in love with it. McDaniels did not. He pulled Pierce aside after everyone left and said, "Don't ever talk about the Patriots like that." Notice, Josh McDaniels, you're no longer on the Patriots. You're on the Raiders. No need to defend them.
Yeah. So this was 2 weeks ago before they fired him.
Yeah.
So that was kind of
and that came out this weekend. Jay Glazer on Fox.
Yeah. That's how I saw it.
Yesterday before all the games.
Yeah, they fired everybody as hard as they could go. They were clearing people out for like 24 hours after that.
Ring a ding 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 dong. Oh.
Blaine Bishop, have you got a ding dong? Joseph's ding dong was stolen, so he had to rebound the context of his ding dong.
I'll think of another one.
Okay.
Maybe I'm going to give you my ding dong. My ding dong is that the Titans was going to win 9 games. I'm not so sure of that right now.
They're
And I kept saying, why is Vegas kept on saying 7? 7? What was it, 7.5?
I think that was right.
Yeah, and I go, man, 7? I don't know, man. They got to at least be in the middle here at 9 and 8 or something. Nah. So I give myself a ding dong. By the way, the ding dong, will the AFC North, all 4 teams make the playoffs? 5-3 or better. We talking about the Bengals, the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Browns.
Are the Ravens the best team in football right now?
No, the Eagles are.
You think the Eagles are? But what about the AFC?
Ravens in the AFC? Yeah.
Yeah, AFC.
I would put them up there. Yeah.
This
is how close the Titans played them. See that?
Here's the current AFC playoff picture. You want this?
Oh, okay.
First seed is the Chiefs. Wow, what a surprise. The second seed is the Ravens, who appear to have this season has been weird though. Somebody looks like they're the greatest team in the history of the NFL for 3 weeks, and then they lose to the Panthers or something.
True that.
Number 2 is the greatest team in the NFL history, Baltimore, currently. Number 3 is Jacksonville, whether you like it or not. Number 4 is Miami. And then it's the other 3 AFC North teams. That's it. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati. That's the playoffs.
I've never
seen
the Jets. The whole
the Jets.
Yeah, the Jets gonna make the Jets play tonight, right?
I believe that's right. And you know me, I'm going to watch it.
Who do the Jets play? Because I think they're going to win. Who do
played
they play
the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
No,
I'd watch it. They play the Chargers.
Yeah, if the Jets beat the Chargers, they need to just go and let the head coach of the Chargers go. They got too much talent.
They're 3-4 right now. The Chargers, Jets are 4-3.
They'll be 3-5, just like the Titans.
This is in New York. This is the kind of game that this feels like the kind of game that the Chargers will win. But he'll do something like go for it on 4th down on his own 17 with 3 minutes left or something. But then who's the blonde kid that plays quarterback for the Jets?
Zach Wilson?
Zach Wilson will throw it back to him, and they'll pick 6 their way to a win. And he'll be like, we won the game, didn't we? Yeah. That's my decision.
I'm gonna watch in detail just so I can see if he does any snafulery or ding dongery.
He's a ding dong of the week emeritus, the Chargers coach Brandon Staley.
Yeah, I still won't.
You mentioned the talent level. Look at their roster every year and tell me you wouldn't take that for your team, whoever your team is.
I still won't forgive him for that going for it on fourth down or whatever when they could have tied.
All they had to do was let the game in.
And they just had to let it in, and then they gave him. Yeah, that was just.
They just had to let the game in.
And they would have been in.
All they had to do was let the clock run out. And both teams appeared like you could see it in real time. Like both sidelines were like, you're going
talking about the Raiders game, right?
Yeah,
I remember.
You're going to do this, right? That's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. It's like both sides kind of agree because they played really hard. And then they got to the end. There was a few minutes left, and it's like,
they're just going to play for the tie.
All we have to do is each run it 3 times and the game's over with. No, dumb dong, ding, dang, dummy. No, I'm putting my foot on the gas here. I'm not showing me how smart I am. Ding dong.
Guess what?
That was 2 years ago.
He's still the head coach.
I'm sweating.
He's still the head coach.
I said his key wouldn't have worked. Like when we got back to the facility, I would have shut it off. But they've been riding with him ever since. If they lose to the Jets tonight, then here we are again. Eric says in the chat, in the F&M Bank chat, sorry for stealing your ding-dong, Joseph.
No worries. I got another one.
Yeah, just dropping ding-dongs on us here.
Two?
Yeah, I watched this game, and I can tell you in real time, I was yelling at my TV, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What?
Saturday, Kansas State, Texas, first overtime. Kansas State's defense gets a stop, forces Texas to take a field goal. Kansas State gets all the way down. I think they were at the 5-yard line, 6-yard line, something like that. Well, they got it to fourth down. They got it to 4th and goal. Instead of kicking the field goal and sending it to a second overtime and keeping their hopes alive, they went for it, and the quarterback got sacked, ended the game.
Yeah.
Oh. Ding dong. Kick the field goal, take the points. You're on the road against a really good opponent, and you have a chance to upset them. Why are you throwing it away like that? If you were on the 1-yard line, I would say, okay, you know what? Roll the dice. You were on the 6, and Texas is a really good defense.
Yeah. Lonzo gave a ding-dong to Caleb Williams for crying.
What?
He climbed up in the bleachers after the game. I watched that one, too. I didn't sleep at all this weekend, so I just watched all the West Coast games.
That game was phenomenal.
It was a fun game. He crawled up in the stands and, got in his mom's lap almost in his uniform and put the game program over his head and cried. I think he cried. Maybe he was saying stuff to her and it didn't want anybody to read his lips. It looked like he was crying, and people got so mad about that.
And then after the game, they asked him what he's going to do to, just to process the loss. And he said, I just want to go home, cuddle my dogs, and watch my TV shows.
Yeah. And people didn't like that.
Because they realize he's only 20.
Yeah. He's a kid.
Years old.
He's a kid, man. I know people want him to be like John Elway out there and, punch somebody. He's a kid. He's upset. His Heisman's gone. His team's going nowhere.
Yeah, he's going home to play Xbox with Joseph.
Him and his dog and Joseph are going to hook up and, play Fortnite with each other.
Yeah. Do you play Xbox?
PlayStation.
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 Yeah, PlayStation. Oh, he's a PlayStation guy.
I bet Eric plays Xbox and PlayStation, and he has a ding-dong of the week. What's up, Eric?
Yeah, I do. I don't play Xbox or any of those things. And also to remind you, I'm not the guy in the chat. So
fair enough.
But guys, y'all get a kick out of this. I don't know if you heard about this. I heard this on y'all's airwaves on the national feed, Fox feed. So apparently there's a guy, they didn't mention his name, in fantasy football, wanted to trade Tony Pollard for Christian McCaffrey. And as part of the trade, he wanted Christian McCaffrey so bad, he offered the guy the opportunity to sleep with his wife.
I saw this.
What universe or stipulation would a guy want to do something like that? I definitely don't think his wife would agree to do that, guys. But that's my ding dong for that guy offering that ridiculous stipulation. Yes. Hey, guys, y'all take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
This was a
y'all putting too much fantasy in your football there.
You got a little insight on this, Joseph?
This was a Reddit. So you guys know what Reddit is?
Yes, of course.
This was a Reddit post, and this guy posted on Reddit asking, what should I do about this? A guy in my league is 3-5 and desperate to turn his team around. Needs more consistency with running back. He sent me a text saying he wants Christian McCaffrey, but there's not really anyone on his team I want. The guy is currently 7-1 and doesn't need to make any changes. He said he could sleep with his wife one time if he accepts the trade and it goes through. And it's pretty tempting since I can't read the rest of this. But yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty tempting.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little too much fantasy in their football there.
Oh, man.
All right, I'll give my ding dong. Buffalo has been kind enough to hold. Let's work Buffalo into the act here, then I'll share my ding dong. What's up, Buffalo?
What's up, Buffalo?
I'm not really sure it's considered a marriage once that happens.
I think you're
Exactly.
right.
I'm with you, man.
I think you're right.
You're offering off your wife, man.
Bylaws of that
The
legal
bylaws.
contract. Actually.
Yes.
But, yeah, I'm going to throw out Kevin Byard, throw him into the ding-dongery because of his stupid penalties. I guess he was just so wound up playing for the Eagles that he just got penalty after penalty after
Did he?
penalty.
I missed it.
Yeah, he got it.
What,
They
pass
did it to him
interference?
like 2 or 3 times.
I saw
One of
one
them
was
hurt like a
unnecessary
15.
roughness is when I turned it after the guy threw him and then he pushed him.
Yeah, he got the response
Yeah,
penalty. You don't never.
Yeah, you don't
He
respond.
gets burned like that a lot. But the
Yeah.
Green Bay Packers finally found somebody worse than them, didn't they?
Yeah, they did this weekend.
Hey, y'all have a good day.
Thank you, Buffalo. Bualo.
Bualo.
My ding dong is this.
Uh-oh.
And I'm not trying to rile anybody up around here because I know there's a bunch of people who can hear the sound of my voice that don't like the guy.
Who that?
Nick Saban.
What?
All these people, because we went to SEC Media Days and we sat down there at our table and people came and talked to us. And like Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football, he came by and you were asking or I was asking, typically people on the way out, who's going to win this whole thing this year? SEC, who wins the championship? Everybody's got their prognostications going. And Tony and a couple other people said, look, man, don't write off Alabama. Don't write them off. But I remember Tony more than anybody said. Tony said, I think they'll play for the national championship. And I really feel like they're going to go to the playoff. I feel like they can win the league and everything. And then, somebody else would sit down afterwards and, we'd ask, who do you think's going to win? We just had Tony on. He likes Bama. They're done. Guess what? They're not done. You can't write that guy off. People are saying this is the best coaching job he's ever done. If you watch the game Saturday, and I know you and me were talking and your own son played and you were kind of tied up. I did get to watch some of that game.
Yeah, maybe.
They let him be him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that equaled out to? Jalen.
Running and passing?
Yep.
What was it?
Jalen Milroe in this game where they beat LSU, who's pretty good. Remember, last time everybody checked, they beat them 42-28. Milroe passed for 219 and ran for 155 and 4 touchdowns. Finally, Tommy Reese and everybody there said, we have this unbelievable weapon. Let's just make him
go.
Let's let him go. He oh my gosh, he looked next level on Saturday.
I think we got robbed a little bit at the end of that game with Jaden Daniels going out.
Yeah.
With that.
Oh, he
hit.
got destroyed.
And there's been a lot of discussion on whether or not that was targeting and what targeting is in college football, which that happens every year. But, I mean,
every game.
Dallas Turner for Alabama jumped up in the air. He launched. He hit him in the head area. I'll let you guys.
Yeah, I saw the play. I saw it actually live. I thought it was unnecessary roughness. He tried to drive him in the ground. He actually tried to hurt him. That was straight how they used to tell us how to tackle.
Well, sure. And exactly now how they say you don't do that.
Yeah, they said, let's do that, drive him in the ground. We want to see number 2 because number 2 going to be scared after we knock that number 1 out.
Yeah.
That was definitely intent there.
He knocked the number 2 out of him, that's for sure.
Yeah, he did.
Kyle in Springfield, let's squeeze in one more ding dong here in this ding dong of the week segment, courtesy of Mark Spain. Hello, Kyle.
What's going on, boys?
Man, tell us.
Man, my ding dong of the week already got said with it being LSU's defense, mainly because they cost Jaden a Heisman by themselves.
Yeah.
You know how painful it is as an LSU fan? We have good defenses for years, no offense.
Yes.
We get offense, absolutely no defense.
Yeah, Jaden was the front runner, according to a lot of people, Kyle. Until this week, I got odds this morning, and he was off the board of one of the things.
Like he's off the board?
Michael Penix was number 1, and they've moved several people past him.
Still got to say Malik Neighbors for Blitnikoff, though.
Well, you're an LSU fan. It's never because of a lack of talent. LSU has as much talent as anybody every year, all the time.
Jaden Daniels' numbers look very similar to Joe Burrow's numbers when he won the Heisman.
Yeah.
I got to say, Jane Daniels has a lot more competition this year than Joe Burrow did back in, was it 2019, 2018?
Did Jaden Daniels, does he have the possibility to play for the championship?
And that's another fact.
See, that's where stats go, nope, that is not the same. It is not the same.
Joe Burrow, that whole run was just, it was crazy.
Oh, I loved some Joe Burrow, boy. I loved it. I was like, hey, man, this dude is special. He has this mox. He has the same, actually, just a different style, just like Will Levis. It's this air of confidence about him that some people can construe as cocky. Well, don't you want your quarterback to be confident and cocky to a certain extent? Yeah, you do. You think Joe Montana and Elway and Marino, you think they didn't play with confidence? Guess what? It's just more publicized now because of social media. Yeah, that's it. More media coverage. These dudes are all like that. How you think they got there?
All right. How did we get here? There's a wild report this weekend out of New England by one of the beat writers up there about who the Patriots want as their next
quarterback.
Head. Yes, well, that too. But who to coach that quarterback? What's the precedent if a coach were to be traded? Because Mike Vrabel's name came up in this. Our man Joseph did some digging. We did a little digging. How many times does that ever even happen? And what do the recent compensation packages look like? Just having some fun. Next.
PlayStation, Xbox.
Yeah.
Stinky, stinky, stinky. Is that what it was like the last time you were at an auto repair shop? Smelly, greasy, old rags laying around, a countertop that you would not dare touch. Another thing that stinks is the repair shops that keep your car forever and they're not honest. They don't call you back when they say they will. And that was the last time and last experience I had with that place, but nothing like Eurofix. Hey, I'm Blaine Bishop to tell you about Eurofix. And Eurofix takes the stink out of European auto repair. And at Eurofix, you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit, not high-pressure sales tactics. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And you never pay dealer pricing. And you have Eurofix in Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can just visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But always tell them Blaine said ya.
Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone. Going to give away some Nashville SC tickets before the show ends. I can promise you. So within the next 5 minutes, we'll be giving those tickets away. Crazy story. We hadn't even had a chance to really talk about this. Ben Volen of the Boston Globe, quote from him, 2 sources close to the Patriots have independently said the same thing, he says. They believe Mike Vrabel, currently the Tennessee Titans coach, is Bill Kraft's home run choice to succeed Belichick. And Mike Vrabel's still under contract. He just signed an extension. None of us really know the details because none of that was put out. But
so did Bill Belichick. None of us know that either.
So if you were going to fire Bill, that's true. If you're going to fire Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel would still be under contract because the Titans obviously are. Some of you think his seat is hot. It is probably not hot yet, but he would have to be. There would have to be some compensation worked out. So our man Joseph did a little digging last night. There's not much precedent for this in the 100-plus year history of the NFL, right? How many times traded for a coach?
So officially, 8 times. Well, we'll say 7, and then 8 was the 8th was forced.
Okay,
by the NFL,
right?
Because of
involved Don Shula, the Dolphins, and the Colts.
Yeah.
Yes, the NFL said, "Hey, man, y'all tampered to get Shula. You guys send something back over there." So 8 times, 7, technically.
Wow.
So. I think anytime this happens, all of us, anybody who's probably listening to this show right now, unless you're like in a stroller or something and your parents are making you listen, you remember John Gruden getting traded from the Raiders to the Bucs. That was 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and $8 million. That's what.
Well, it was worth it for them. They won. They won it.
That's what the Raiders got: 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and $8 million from the Bucs for John Gruden. So the most recent one, because when I started talking about this, you said somebody traded something for Sean Payton. Denver sent and Sean Payton was even retired, but his rights still went back to the Saints. Denver sent a first and a second to New Orleans for Sean Payton and a third. So the precedent to this is at least one and 1 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that's had people in their. That's what I was joking about when we started the show today. People were in their feelings about who the quarterback is and coaching trades and everything else. History says it's probably not going to happen. It happens less than once a decade historically. But,
well,
yeesh.
This would not be the first time the Patriots have made that move. If you guys remember,
they traded for Bill Belichick.
And do you know what they gave up for Mr. Bill?
No.
A first-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and a seventh-round pick.
To the Jets?
To the Jets. The Pats gave gave away, or the Pats also got a 5th rounder and a 7th rounder and Bill Belichick from the Jets. And then he went on to win 6 Super Bowls, but he also had the greatest quarterback of all time on his roster.
Yeah, because there's rumors that he's going to the Commanders.
Yeah.
Oh, Magic Man he must be tight with Magic.
I don't know, man.
I think they hang out, man. I think they fish together, man. Him and Nick Saban, man.
I would, if you say, okay, the 2 GOATs, at least of modern football, are Saban and Belichick. Saban has shown really again and again, doesn't matter who his quarterback is or what kind of system they run. You know, Saban used to be line it up and run over you, and then he got people like Lane Kiffin and Sarkisian. And it was like, okay, we'll just play this modern thing like everybody else is, and we'll throw it all over you. Well, guess what? Switch they flipped again this year. Offensive line is maybe not the pass blocking unit they've had. Okay, well then we'll just run Milroe all over you. Saban has shown maybe he's more the GOAT of GOATs because Belichick's success has all come with Brady. And like naming his son and Matt Patricia, and he just made some drafting
and by the way, Saban's staff that leaves and comes
turns
and
over
goes
all the time.
Right, and they have success.
Yep.
Where Bill Belichick can't say a lot of his staff has success.
If I was Washington, I would have to be
Vrabel
like.
was not one of his staffs either.
And who?
Is Vrabel one of his
No,
staff?
he never worked for Belichick. He played for him, didn't work for him.
Right, so that's not part of it.
Yeah.
He actually, Vrabel came from an Ohio State tree from, I want to say, right before Ryan Day, because he worked under Ryan Day, and then he moved to the NFL.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Well, Jim Wyatt was on with us earlier, and we asked him about that report, and he said, well, it's just more of a guy saying, not a guy saying, I think this is going to happen, just like this is a scenario that's being discussed.
Well, I think it's just rumors more so This man, imagine this. He was leaving the stadium. Guy asked him some questions. Man, he just had a couple pops of drinks. And like, yeah, man, I'd love to have Vrabel. This is,
right.
I mean, we just inducted him to the ring ever. Yeah, he would be my first choice. You know, so he's riding that high of Vrabel getting inducted to the ring. So, yeah, I mean, you know, just because you want something don't mean it's going to happen.
100%. But I could see Kraft having a couple of pops and telling, you know, people who were sourced by this Ben Volen, who knows everybody up there, Kraft having a couple of pops and going, God, it wouldn't be great to have Vrabel, man. Ugh. Yeah. Look at the response
Bill
he
retires,
got.
man. I'm
gonna call him and just see what I can do.
Well, I'm gonna call Amy. I mean, that's what I'm
right first. I wouldn't just call Mike first. That's tampering.
I'll just text Mike first.
100%. Then I would call Amy. All right, you want to win some Nashville SC tickets? We about to go, so let's give something away first. Nashville SC going for the gold in the Audi 2023 MLS Cup playoffs. 1045 The Zone's ticket window now open thanks to Window Nation. Caller 5 as we shut this sucker down. Caller 5 now can win a family 4-pack of tickets to see a must-win match of the boys in gold in Music City as Nashville SC takes on Orlando. That is tomorrow night at Geodis Park. Here's the number to call. Caller 5, 615-737-1045. So call and get those tickets. But
in the meantime,
in between time,
peace.